Welcome to Literary Dialogs with Nina Serrano, bringing you wonderful poets and writers who focus on peace, justice, and a healthy planet. I'm your host, Nina Serrano. This segment presents my poems recorded at the Alice Walker event of October 2018 in Berkeley, and poems from my Heart Sweet Trilogy. This poem is called I Have 5 Things to Say, and it's written in the style and inspired by the Persian poet Rumi. I have 5 things to say. First, as an embryo, my presence discovered by my mother's friend's older sister, who'd been to college and worked in the lab. She injected the rabbit with mother's fluids. It died, heralding my presence in an earlier form. The bunny gave its life for me, or had it taken, so I could be known. Second, my maternal grandfather threw my pregnant mother out on a winter's night. She, clothed in a flimsy slip, caught pneumonia. In the hospital, they told her she was pregnant after the rabbit test results. Third, but why did I bother to learn to count to 3? Fourth, I entered the world right on time in infant form on September 1st of 1934 in the charity ward, unlike my mother, who was born in a hallway because of crowding. Oh, such a fat, healthy baby. She smiles and laughs whenever you look at her. Happily, I thrived on the struggles and stresses around me. Fifth, I watch from the window a plane dip and circle, writing curving words of smoke in the sky. Coca-Cola. Above the laundry, drying on the rooftops below. I made the journey to the corner cigar store, clutching the money to buy grown-up stuff for the night's festivities of music and dancing. I heard from the darkened bedroom, "Why must I sleep when so much pleasure is happening?" Now, I love to sleep, drifting into dreams in a quiet house, never knowing which sleep will be the last. Thank you. This next poem is called Roque Dalton. Roque Dalton was the first, or is still, although he has passed many years ago in 1973, the national poet of El Salvador. And he wrote a poem that stated that poetry, like bread, is for everyone. Roque Dalton, Bread for All. And I have to say it was because of him that I became a writer, his inspiration. Bread for all. Change, it's our only hope. It carries some pain. As when I walked into a California bilingual classroom, which never would have existed during the Cold War, when I first met Roque in 1968 on the lam, having escaped from a third world Salvadoran prison. I don't know if it was the jailbreak, if it was that jailbreak. He had 5 escapes that he made during the earthquake when the prison wall crumbled and he quietly slipped away, boarding an open city bus and climbing out of its back door into another waiting bus. I don't know what safe houses he hid in until he crossed the border and found his way to refuge across a gray ocean. A small celebrity in the Eastern European socialist world, he made his way, writing a book first on his role model, Miguel Marmol, through diplomatic channels back to the Americas, where we met in Cuba's tropical revolution. His stories flowed like the perfumed air and blue, warm waters. In El Salvador, he said, every time he spoke his truth, he was jailed. He said he would return to his country through underground connections he helped lay so he could join the guerrilla. Don't go, I urged, fearing for his death. He laughed. His death meant little to him compared to the joys of life, speaking and writing his humorous truth. He filled life with laughter. Slipping back into his native background wasn't simple. Not a straight shot at the greedy enemy. In his guerrilla camp, the factions, the sides within the sides killed him, and not the enemy. A shot through the ear while he was sleeping. All his life, his words tumbled out into books. He said the CIA would try to use his death as a propaganda victory. Later, when the CIA, who were always on his enemy's side, tried to defame him, they failed. And he is so well remembered today that when I entered this California bilingual classroom, which didn't exist when Roque and I first met, because California was not as Spanish-speaking as today, though it had been overwhelmingly Spanish-speaking before, when it was called Mexico or Aztlan by those in the know. I saw his poem on the classroom wall above the blackboard in 2 languages, in the familiar capital and lowercase letters of a primary school, with his vision of bread for all. Roque's friends in the first, second, and third world kept the record straight, translation after translation, so he could not be besmirched. Poems and polemics passed from hand to hand, tongue to tongue, till even now, when there is no socialist bloc, no second world, because the number of worlds dwindle with decades as they become countries again, whose boundaries and borders change through blood and tears. The children of the first world read the poem, and the little planet changes as the movement to protect it grows, to plug up its ozone layer holes, to feed the ever-growing humanity with Roque's vision of bread for all. This next poem is called Smoke 2, and it was written in July of this year, 2018. I'm changing because I printed this out in 18 point, so I don't need these. As you know, we experienced many fires, and I started writing a fire series many years ago when there were these insurance scams in the Mission District of San Francisco in the barrio, where landlords would burn down the property with people living in them to get the insurance money. But now we're into another episode around fires in California. Smoke 2, July 2018. The wind shifted today. We get a break from the smoke of 32,000 acres of forest burning, and maybe plastic and other toxics too. When the fire started, the sun turned red. Liz looked up and called it a Chinese lantern as we drove north along the freeway, not knowing what was happening between the Earth's crust and the atmosphere, knowing that it was not good. As it clouded the sun's rays and covered the car with ash, now it's the third day of flames. The mountains burn, anxiety sizzle, global warming, climate change, no longer a dire warning, a grotesque present. We search for solutions and clean air. This poem is called Dia de los Muertos, which is approaching November 1st and 2nd. Today, as we approach Dia de los Muertos, I think of the ancestors who lived the many ancient traditions. They too felt this season of falling leaves in shortening days. I embrace the spirits of these departed creeping into my memory, mingling their lives in the past with mine in the present. They accompany me. I am never alone. If Cleopatra's sneeze is still in the ether and ambience, then their love and laughter can be my warm shawl through eternity. This one is in 12-point. Death's anniversary now. Death's anniversary now. It's my brother's birthday. He died last year. Now I mark it in a different way. Now, after celebrating with him here for 71 years, I tell his ghost what he has always known, that I love him, that I carry our story on, the story that was only ours, the endless conversations about God. Now, he knows the answers to questions like, what is death? What is life everlasting? Were our parents waiting for you? Was Uncle Paul there? Do you have bodies? Do you keep your age differences and memories? You always insisted, there is no death. We never stop. Well, the scientists agree. The universe keeps on expanding, so we are here for the infinite ride. But I cannot deny that you are missing, and all the thoughts I want to share don't get said or responded to, leaving an empty silence where you were. Are you waiting for me? When Trump got elected, and it seemed like the policy of hate would begin, I decided that my only resistance was going to be love. And so all the poems that I read or wrote for various protests are coming from that. Love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor. The ones with red and blue tattoos on their necks and faces, or shaved heads, or covered by yarmulkes, turbans, hijabs, or backwards baseball caps for a team you don't like. Love thy neighbor. The wavy-haired, springy-curled, puffy-headed, shaven, bald, and straight-haired, hanging down long or standing straight up short. The ones who move in one gender and then changed. Help thy neighbor whose garbage cans stay out too long, with long neglected weeds, lowered window shades decaying, and entry stairs sloping down. The single ones with noisy kids that laugh, wail, and whine. The ones with walkers, wheelchairs, and canes. Give a smile, lend a hand, to pull us all up to a rainbow-colored heaven on earth. To a rainbow-colored heaven on earth. I'm going to close with a song, the Butterfly Song. I hope I'm in good voice for your sake. I borrowed the tune. Oh, the caterpillar, as she ages through the stages of her life, growing wings now, she is flying. She was dying, then born anew. Thank you. Cold day in spring. I struggle to remember spring. Winter threatens to blow back in with a cloud, a word, a bad word, a shouting word. I stretch towards spring to blossom like a flowering fruit. What says the I Ching? I have not tossed the coins. When I last did, and the time before that, and many times before that, it said the same thing over and over, always the same. Work on what has been spoiled. Am I still doing it? Indoor, outdoor. Late in a hurry to get to the meeting door, I rushed forward when my hair and face tangled with invisible threads, an immense gossamer weaving, dangling from the tree to just above the pavement. Insects the size of a child's thumb climbed up 15 feet strands to the leafy bough. I stopped and saw, but didn't investigate. After all the important stuff happens indoors. Healing wishes. May your days be filled with light emanating from within and creating ever-widening circles of love that your eyes evoke and your body carries. May health gleam from every cell you bear, continually renewing what is sacredly you and your shining smile that gladdens a community. The nature of love. When I was little, I wondered if I really loved anyone, not sure what love was, not knowing it was the name of what I wanted more of and what I already had, what I felt when the ice cream truck played my favorite song, or when the man with the wooden vegetable wagon let me feed his horse, or when my mother came home smiling in her embroidered blouse, or when I ran into the waves and jumped, was carried up, across, and down again, my feet landing on the same sandy bottom. Love was the sweet syrup at the bottom of the cup, and being swung and swung around like flying, like roller skating, the sidewalk vibrating in my bones, body music I made, rolling down the street under God and all the angel sky. Learning about love more than 50 years later. If you were looking, would you have seen me lost in a strange city? How did you know I was lost? You must have been looking for me all the time to know to find me when no one knew I was lost. You were always looking for me. I understand that now. Final words. Love me are my last words. I would be a better person if I said, I love you, or only uttered love. It would be a prayer, a supplication to this grand experience called life. But love me is what I feel, what my greedy heart desires and goes back for second helpings. Love me is what all the other hearts say. I hear them behind faces of cool indifference of hooded teenagers, the half-asleep elders after senior center lunches, the weightlifters wiping sweaty foreheads on gym towels, the punished child walking to the principal's office, or the studied blank faces of bus passengers and the eager faces of tourists. Love me, humanity cries, that even floods, hurricanes, and bombs can't silence. Splendid summer, Octo. Splendid summer smiles upon me, wonderful weather where I walk, following fun folks where they tread, water, sand, rock, and earthly soil. Even sprinkling showers can't spoil following fun folks where they tread, water, sand, rock, and earthly soil. Splendid summer smiles upon me. Be fearless. Choose love. Fear of computer viruses, terrorists, planetary extinction, epidemics, urban crime, drug lords owning governments, torture, a commonplace weapon, and humanless drones with only a button to push to explode life to smatters and splinters. Only a law to pass to steal it all. Fearless love is the only defense. Greedy power in my face, like in yours, wants to make us forget, but we cannot forget. This nagging feeling hardwired in the bones, wanting to belong snugly in the nest of our planet, be fully accepted because we exist, not for our licenses, documents, and wealth. From this innate primordial desire comes our fearless love, peeking around the polluted rubble of destruction, the abandoned gas stations, the poisoned waterways. We look beyond and see other heads bobbing up and down, beaming the signal, calling us to show our fearless love in the face of everything. Fearless love, the daily challenge. Ready or not, it is here. The neighborhood shaman speaks rough and stylized like the local street dealer. But his smoke and feathers bring peacefulness as much as any other holy one. Artist song to funders. Good man, I have poems, a novel, and videos too, and even unfinished manuscripts. Good man, don't you suppose you could read my proposal and give me a grant, even if it's scant? Good man? That got a laugh out of Miranda.
Yeah.
That sounds like her song.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching. To read more of my work, poems, novels, and translations, go to ninaserrano.com and subscribe to my blog so we can keep in touch and you'll hear about upcoming shows.